for the quick introduction. And even I was listening to the poll, and we're happy to know that the biggest percentage on the design enthusiast side. And welcome you all for the session. And let me share my screen before getting started. 1 minute. I hope you all able to see my screen. Raj, can you confirm? Are you able to see my screen?
Yeah, able to see the screen.
Yeah, right. So yeah, as Raj gave a quick introduction, this is Madhavan, Head of Product Design and Research in Fibona Labs, and I would like to say a big hi to everybody. And you can say hi back to me, and I know you are all muted. Maybe you can say hi to me in the chat. It would be great help for me. Okay. Yeah. So when we decided the topic Rex of building a creative solution, and I was looking back my experience, and I divided my experience into three different phases. The very first phase, like I joined as a designer. I was learning new things as a designer, what designers are supposed to do, how they are being creative, how I can become a creative person, and how I can excel in the design field, right? This is my kind of thought process, and I kept that thought very open. I was keep exploring, learning from senior design members, all right? And if you see my second phase of the designer as a profession, like as a design manager, a lot of designers start reporting to me. I will start mentoring, helping designers. Even in that phase of my design, right? I always see that people are very creative, and they want to do some creative work. They actually very eager to become a creative person, right? And I think that is the one common factor among all of us, having trying to have this session, and you are very enthusiastic in design and you want to be a creative. I hope that might be the one reason helping us bringing together to this session, right? And as a third phase of my life, what I'm professional life, what I'm trying to do is like I start mentoring other designers and co-founded a company along with my other partners who are from different field, basically like one from the technology side, one from the management side, one from the sales, and I'm from the design. So we all came together to started the company. And by maybe as we practice the design, it become automatically having the multidisciplinary team to found a team. And we also feel that we at Fibona Labs, we are trying to keep creative, open-minded cultures that is actually helping us to do more design project, and it is keeping us to do more creative person. So now let me, that said, now let me take you through the kind of agenda what I'm going to cover as part of this presentation. Okay, so we are going to talk about creativity. We should know what is creativity, how to achieve it. At the same time, as a designer, we have a design process, how the process is helping us, any particular individual as a creative person, right? And how the process is helping to bring out the creativity in you, right? And then we see the case study as Raj was saying. Raj is one of my colleague who worked on the particular project. He also uses the design process, and he delivered best product to our client. And he will take you through the case study as how he was able to innovate and deliver best product to the client. Okay. After these three sessions, we can have a question and answer where you can ask us questions. We want you to openly, transparently ask all your doubt, get clarified, and then you can give us a feedback to improve the future sessions. Okay. So before deeply dive into the session, I would like to know your opinion about creativity. Maybe can you start typing in the Teams chart. I hope you are familiar. If you have any doubt, please feel free to ask us. Also, as Raj mentioned, we are using Figma for the presentation. At the same time, we are using the Teams for collaboration. I would like to move between the two. So now I'm moving to the Teams. Would like to know your opinion about creativity. And feel free to be on video, and so we can say hi to each other. Creativity is openness. Okay, I hear. If maybe I can say hi to see that message, right? Yeah, you can show your and Mamta is typing creativity is the way to come up with a solution. Okay. Jay is saying creativity equal expression. Yes, right. Okay. Creativity is innovation. Okay. Mia is saying that. Freedom of expression, creativity could help be innovative. Okay, yeah, right. Yeah, I think you all kind of, in your own perspective, you are expressing what is creativity. Creativity delivers imagination. It is about problem solving. Okay, I hear a lot of some answers. Freedom of expression, creative help. Okay, creativity is our inner soul. More philosophical. Yeah. Yeah, so I'm going back to the presentation, and I was able to see a lot of wonderful explanation from you all. And so I would like to start with very small sketching exercise because it's not only between us. In today's world, at least in today, there are a lot of misconception about creativity. So let's start with a small sketching exercise. I want you to sketch a person listening to your music in under 3 minutes. Okay, and then maybe you can take a photo of it, and then maybe you can share it in in the the chart itself, so we can I would like to see what is your outcome of it, and then we will discuss what is creativity. Okay, so what I'm asking is, can you sketch a person listening to your music in under 3 minutes? If you have pen and paper with you, just sketch that whatever you can able to convey. Sketch it and take a photo and share it here in this chart. In case if you have any queries on how to share, if you are facing any difficulties, feel free to raise your hand so that we can help you out on that, sharing the photo. Raj, in case if you have any suggestion on how to share photo, you can be louder on that.
Yeah. So for people who are using the mobile version of Teams, you can share your photo, like you can directly click your photo through the Teams app. Or otherwise you will have to transfer your click a picture and transfer it to your system, desktop or laptop, and then you'll have to share it to the chat. You can just drag and drop it here. Else if you have a cam on your device, cam on your laptop or desktop, you can click it through that cam on the Teams app.
Yeah, I see a sketch from Preeti. Okay. And I see a sketch from Bhargavi. Okay. Yeah, nice one, guys.
If anyone has any issues with uploading the picture onto the chat, probably you can tell us your issue. We'll see if anything could be done. Sorry. Or uh, if it is really hard to share the picture on the chat, it would be good if you get on video and show the picture on the video as well. That could work as well.
Yeah, so even you can come on video and you can show in front of you, like let's say I have something is done, I can show like this. Yeah, I can see Deepak. I can see you are you are good at sketch as well, I believe, Deepak. Nice one, nice one. Yeah. Yeah, I see sketch from Puspa, Vinay Jain, and Avneet. Yeah, it's all very good sketch, and there is something from Dhruv Dandania as well. Hello, Dhruv. Very nice one. And there is a sketch from Sri Pratapan. I hope you all are looking at other sketch also, how they are trying to communicate the scenario, right? Yeah, I think we can move on. Ayush, okay, nice one, Ayush. Devesh Kumar Singh, yeah, very nice one. Okay, all creative things coming up now, right? So I move on to anybody wants to share on the video, please go ahead. I would like to see your sketch and then move on. Yeah. I think this is more than enough. The amount of sketch we received, it's all very good sketch. I just move on to the presentation. We will start discussing. Yeah, I see one from Manus Ashok. Okay, the very good one. Okay, so I move on to the presentation where what I'm trying to convey is that there is a misconception about artistic ability as well as the creative ability. Okay, so artistic ability is important, but it's not that important, and it should not stop you to become a creative, right? The level of fidelity, the sketch which you draw to communicate what is there in your mind, right? And if the kind of sketch, even for example, if you take one sketch from this list where Sri Prathapan did very quick sketch, it's just a line drawing where it is actually conveying the right meaning, right? Listening to music, a person is listening to music. This is the level of fidelity, artistic ability is expected to become more creative. So if you are not very artistic, it doesn't mean that you cannot be creative. You can be creative, right? So I hope you understand that. That is the level of fidelity drawing or sketching is expected from you to be a creative person. Okay. Also, there are people actually who think that they cannot be creative, and also they think that creativity is something which is come naturally or come from the birth, right? But that is not true. We as a designer, we practiced, we worked on so many projects, and we believe that creativity is something which you, whatever comes to your mind, whatever you are able to imagine, and if you are able to communicate that better to anybody others or for your audience or anyone whom you are reporting to, right? That itself is more than enough for being a creative person, right? Okay. So now, do you believe creativity can be acquired? Creativity can be learned? Can you kind of, this is a question for you. So can you answer this question in the chart?
Yeah, so you'll be seeing a poll for this also. We can give you answers there as well.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so now if you see almost most of you saying that yes, creativity can be learned, right? I think there are 18% or maybe 15% says no to it, but it's fine. Yeah, I move on to the presentation. As most of you believe, we also believe that anyone can be creative and creativity can be developed over the period of time. And but how do you develop creativity over the period of time, right? So I would like to bring one small story here where I hope most of you know that there is a creativity talk by Sir Ken Robinson who talks about how schools kills the creativity, right? Even in that, he used to say a story, small story, where in a school there are childrens and the teacher giving a little assignment saying that, hey, can you draw something which you can communicate to me? Okay, so everybody started drawing their own sketch and to explain to the teacher what there in my his or her mind, and then everybody drawing one among them one particular student who actually keep trying very kind of um, with full attention, and then teacher asking her, hey, what are you drawing? And that student replied that I'm drawing the god, right? So then the teacher was amused and she was surprised and she was asking, what are you drawing god? Nobody knows how god is. And even that student very confidently saying that Is it nobody seeing God? Maybe they can see it in a minute. Give me a time, right? This is the level of confident children has when they born and when they explore, when they understand the world from their own perspective, right? But at the same time, if you kind of closely noticed, as we grow as an adult, where we kind of growing out of creativity, and that's what he even used to say, that we should practice ourselves growing into the creativity, not growing out of creativity. Okay, so as I told you, it's a skill set where we can practice everyday basis. We can be very consistent and we can be a very creative person, right? And out of that, I would like to, there are so many skill set, but as for this discussion, I'm trying to bring a few important points here. For example, like observing, experimenting, right? Even I hope you know recent days how many experimentations SpaceX is doing, right? They are creative people, and you can see the amount of experimentation they do to prove they to achieve something in a new way, right? And similarly, even associating. For example, do you know how Danso came up with the innovative idea where they kind of deliver goods within the city, right? They as if you are living in Bangalore, you can experience what kind of problem we go through, right? We in a even there are times where we kind of got into the traffic for an hour or more than an hour, right? And obviously, if a person wants to go from A to B in Bangalore and then kind of delivering something, it become tedious task. This as an opportunity, see that as an opportunity, and then they have created a business model around it, right? So this is the reason why I'm trying to tell you is that this is the beauty of associating things. You associate one with other things, and then automatically you will come up with the creative ideas to solve particular problem. All right. So there are so many things. Again, as you know, if you are from, and if you are a kind of design enthusiast, you can understand how observation is helping you to become a creative, how questioning things become help you to become creative, right? So on networking also, like talking to different people, different set of perspective, you will come to know about any particular thing, particular problems, right? So I'm moving to next slide. Yeah. So if you see, we at Fibona Labs, we have a divergent thinking by having the multidisciplinary approach. At the same time, I was telling you, being creative is nothing but you have to experiment, you have to observe, you have to associate, you kind of have very divergent thinking, right? So here I would like to explain you a small story which there is a physiologist, a psychologist called Gilbert, who actually taking care of recruitment in US US Air Force, right? So basically, while interviewing, he came to know that there are few persons who act few candidate who is actually uh, answering question in an entirely different. He was surprised to see that, and then he made a note out of it. Okay, okay, who what are the persons who actually answered differently for the particular kind of questions, and he noticed that the same person who actually performed well during even in the wartime were kind of uh, fighting with their enemies. Okay, so then he submitted the theory that even in where there is a field where they don't talk about creativity, right? Even there, if you have a creative people, it will help you to kind of uh, manage the situation which cannot even pre-think before, right? Even in the war situation, right? That is what he was able to identify, and he was able to help US Air Force to recruit more creative people as part of Air Force, right? Now, at the same time, there are so many studies But if you notice that there is a Northwestern University from Qatar, which is of the same opinion that creativity is very important, and but how to kind of approach creativity, right? And then they have done the experiment, and then they come up with the result, and the result says that if you have some structured approach to the creativity, they found that the students are coming up with a lot of ideas for the given particular problem. But at the same time, they have some open approach where they found that there are very uh, less ideas came out of that particular approach. Okay, so even though if you are aiming to learn creativity, it is better to have some structured approach which will help you to become more creative. That is what came out of that particular particular study. Okay, so and also if you noticed, if somebody telling you, hey, this is the problem, right? Or maybe let's say you are talking to your friends and you feel that uh, my friend is going through some uh, problem, and then your mind automatically start identifying solution for it, and you will start suggesting solution to that problem, right? Exactly, that is what actually creative problem solving, right? But at the same time, you need to understand creative problem solving is important. At the same time, creative problem finding also it's very important, because you might be solving the problem which is not at all problem. Maybe somebody perceiving that as a problem, and you start resolving that problem, right? But we as a designer, we are as a creative community, we should understand that creativity is nothing but solving the problem, but uh, beside the solving problem, finding the right problem, it's also as part of the creative process. So that's what I would like to kind of tell you. And before starting that particular uh, story, I would like to say creative process is nothing but finding the right problem and solving that problem. This is the two step which is actually the design process or creative process we used to do as a designer, right? Now let me tell you why finding the right problem is very important. Actually, there is one African country, right, where the government identified that in that area the fishing is more, and they are doing overfishing, right? And government took some step, and then they help all the fishermen to own a kind of farming land, and they started kind of uh, encouraging them to work and on the field, so that the overfishing will be reduced. This is their thought process, and they actually invested. They started giving land to people, and then they started encouraging farming also. Okay, eventually it happened. They become good at farming things, and then they earn good amount of money, and then they invested again in fishing itself, right? So this is the kind of, you think that this will be resolving that problem. If you didn't with if you involve on something without understanding exactly what is the problem, then you will end up having same problem multiplied, right? Like their intention is to stop fishing or doing proper fishing, not overfishing thing. But at the end, they end up having, after a one generation or one and a like a kind of after 10-15 years, even though they are good at farming, but they started investing again in fishing, so that end up having more overfishing problem in that country. Okay, so that is the main reason I would like to emphasize more on this. As a designer, solving the problem is very important. At the same time, finding the right problem is more important. So if you see the creative process, there are two steps, only two steps. You no need to remember anything, just only two steps: finding the right problem and solving that particular problem. This is what will help you to become a creative person more and more. Right? Okay. Let me get into little detail. Okay, Madhavan, you said finding the right problem, solving the same problem. But how do I find the right problem? It's again, there is a question, right? Okay, let me tell you, as a designer, okay, imagine that I'm imagining that this is you. You are a designer, right? You do user-centric approach, right? But there is a client and there is a end user. End user is the consumer of the product or any service which the client is doing, right? So client always come up with a problem to you and start saying that, hey, designer, I have a problem. I feel this is the problem my end user is facing. I want you to help me to resolve this problem, right? We as a designer, as I told you, first step is actually to find the right problem. Whatever client is coming to us as saying that this is the problem, maybe we can take that as an intent or their point of view. They perceive that as a problem, right? But we are a designer, we knows that it's intent or it's their point of view. Then actually we need to go and talk to end user. Even we talk to client, we need to understand what company is trying to achieve, what end user is facing the problem, what problem end user is facing. This phase of the design is called a research. So let me take you to the research. Okay, so you need to understand the client and you need to understand the end user. Okay, there are so many techniques, user research techniques. Okay, in UX research there is a research phase. In research phase there are so many techniques to understand the end user, understand the client. It's overall it will help you to understand the entire domain. Okay, now I just for the discussion purpose, I list down that user interview, contextual inquiry, ethnographic study. It's all help you to understand your end user. Stakeholder interview, competitor analysis. These are the techniques will help you to understand the what brand or what the client is trying to do in their space, right? Okay, now let's say we have done research, we have gathered information from the end user, we have gathered information from the client, we have bunch of data, right? Our understanding about the domain has increased, isn't it? Okay, so now what are we going to do with that particular thing, right? So basically we need to dive into that findings, what we have gathered, right? We need to analyze it, we need to understand it, what kind of problem, what they like, what they dislike, what is their want, what is their desire, right? How business is trying to solve the same problem, or whether business need to solve this problem or this problem, right? Because when we interview people, they are very open, they kind of share all their like dislike, what kind of pain points they are going through, right? It can be multiple problem also, right? And we as a designer, we understand design business cannot kind of work on all 10 problems and resolve things, right? Maybe for the next version the user wants the business wants to share only resolve only 3 problems, and then we should focus only on that 3. That is the right problem we supposed to work on, right? And also particularly I would like to kind of remember this, there is a persona we can develop which is of representing the user group, okay, with the future needs, at the same time the user journey map. This also helping us what kind of stages the user go through while using their client service, and where all he is facing the pain point, how we are resolving the pain points. Okay, but other techniques are there, for example affinity mapping, empathy mapping. There are so many techniques. I just taught these 4 techniques for this purpose, but there are so many techniques. I want you to explore more and understand what are analysis techniques there, and when to use, what to use, those things as it comes as we gain more experience. Okay, so now in analysis, let's say there are so many, let's say there are 10 issues, but in the next upcoming release of the product, let's say we cover only 2 problem, right? So that we have to write it as a problem statement. Okay, now the client also came up with the problem statement, but we as a designer, we have done research,
we have done analysis, and then we actually redefine the problem statement, which which problem we should focus on for the upcoming release, right? And as every one of you agree, everyone you know, a problem well stated is a problem half resolved, right? Once the problem is clear to us, innovating in that space become easier. Okay. Now I am taking you to back to the bird eye view of the creative process. We were doing the finding the right problem, right? Now we have done the right problem finding through research and analysis, right? We start with intent. We apply some research technique, we apply some analysis techniques, and then we move from intent to problem definition. This is the exact problem we supposed to work. This is the right problem we supposed to work, right? Now we can move on to the second of the creative process or the design process, which is called solving the problem, right? Solving the problem, we as a designer, we all know very clearly in the design phase, what we do, we ideate, we brainstorm with other designers, other team members, okay, from very varied background. Everybody contribute their own way of thinking there, and we come up with the use cases. We come with the wireframe nothing but, or the prototypes, it's nothing but the flow of screens will help you to understand how the future interaction is going to be, how we are solving that particular problem which end user is facing. Okay. Once design is done, let's say we worked closely with the client is helping us to understand the subject matter. As a subject matter expert, they play the major role, and they also work closely with us, and they help us to design the resolve the problem through the design. Then it has to hand over to the development team, right? If you see that research, analysis, design and development, it's a kind of product development framework. Out of that, if you see as a designer, it's a UX process, right? Which is matching with the software product design and development. Okay. So when come to the development, we need to kind of create the visual design assets, hand over to the development team. Even we used to give design guidelines. Even we supposed to give design system in case we are going to kind of develop multiple product as part of the same design or same business. And then even if while development is going on, we as a designers, we can take the prototype or take the wireframe, we can go to the end user, we can start doing the usability testing, and we can quickly bring the design changes during the development also. So if you see overall again, creative process is nothing but only 2 steps: finding the right problem, solving that problem, right? Now within that finding the right problem, there are 2 phases: research, analysis, and design and develop. So this is the overall UX process, and this is come out of software product design and development framework. Okay, so people also say that it's a double diamond, and I would like to kind of little bit touch upon that, why people say that it's a double diamond. As you see, I was telling, right, client come up with the intent, we do research. So the first diamond part, basically it's a divergent, right? Basically by doing research, our knowledge is increasing. Okay, during the analysis, we analyze all our findings, we identify what problem we are going to resolve. That is what actually the exact problem, the right problem. So we, during this research, we move from intent to actual problem. But once you know the actual problem, again in design, we ideate, we come up with a lot of solutions. And then during the development phase, we identify which solution is going to help us to solve that problem. And then we launch that product, or we launch that product, right? So this is what overall it's a creative process. Ideally, it is helping you to become creative because it has the enough tools to bring and visualize all the reasoning in front of you. So there is a problem and why it is a problem. It will give both together to you. So now, once you know why there is a problem, coming up with your imagination, solving that become it's a human activity, I would say. Okay, that is the reason I would like to remember you all. This design process is a creative process, and this is how it make you to become a creative person. Okay. Yeah. So as I told you in the beginning, the next thing is we need to go through the case study. Raj worked on this particular case project, so I would like to ask him to take you through the case study. Raj, can you hear me?
Yeah. Hi. Thank you so much, Madhavan. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Madan, for that nice speech. It was really interesting with all the examples and with all your experience. It was sure interesting. This one of the case studies that we did as a part of Fibona Labs, and to give a context, we go to bank. Everyone has been to the bank sometime or the other. So when you walk into a bank, there are a few things that we notice, right? Like there are counters placed ahead, and you have the teller. There is a person who takes care of the processing of the money, who takes care of challans and things like that. And if you walk past that, you will find a counter called personal banking. So this particular application or the case study is for a person who's into the personal banking part. So we call them a relationship manager in the bank. So this is the person who calls you and asks about your investment strategies. Say you are going to invest with the bank, then this is the person who will coordinate all the investments and take care of your wealth, make sure that your money is growing as per your requirement, and dealing with the risks, and giving you insights as to how can you invest better. So this is the kind of person. So it is a wealth management app basically we are doing, and this app is something that uh, this relationship manager will be using to provide the client with a service. So if we can move on. Yeah. This person services premium clients, and he tracks basically to track investments and things like that. His job also involves like lead generation. He calls up clients and asks them to invest with them. Talks to them about the benefits of investing with their bank. So all just things this person is doing, and we were building a platform where he could do all such activities. So to start off with this, so this is the kind of brief that we got from the client, saying that we need to build a engaging product for the relationship manager. Say in terms of they had a basic structure of the project, but they felt that the product is not very efficient in delivering what is required, and they felt that if we could provide more data visualization, or they felt that the user is not using it because there is something lacking in the system, say in terms of there is lesser data that the system is providing. So we went ahead with this. So as Madhavan was talking, like the first stage is always about research, talking to the user. We got a brief from the client, and then we said that okay, let's do our research, let's try talking to the user. And it's not always that you get to talk to the user. Finding out ways to talk to the user is also a big task, and with the current remote situation and the pandemic going around, meeting a user and talking to them is really difficult. But what we feel is that like even if it is in some small way that we could bring in the user into the design, then it's going to be of really good use. So we try to connect with the user over Zoom meetings, over team meetings like this, and we try to understand okay what they do, or what is their work like, what are they most interested in from the platform, and we plotted down insights. So maybe what we always have in mind when we are doing any kind of research is that ask the right questions. It's not about asking the right questions, it's also about uh, being curious enough, like how a child would ask us questions, right? Maybe like say something that is very something that you might feel is very mundane, but you still ask that, like say ask why. Like say a person is doing a operation in a specific way, then we learn to ask why, because that is the curiosity that will help us gain better insights from any user interview. So something different that we did here is, along with the user interview, we also tried to bring in observations. Observations, obviously, we couldn't meet the user, but we try to ask the user, like say, so one thing that we did was we asked them what are the objects on your disk right now. We wanted to understand, like, okay, the client wanted us to build in user engagement into the platform. So we wanted to understand, okay, what does this specific user engage with on a regular basis, like what are the things that he uses regularly. And we figured out, okay, there were 4 5 things, like say a monthly calendar. They had a notepad, and they regularly used apps like Google Keeps, because they are people who are always in touch with the client. The client calls them, or they call the client, and they discuss all this financial investment things, and they always have to follow up with the client regarding if there's any new update. So they always wanted to keep track of things. So that is something that we did in this project. So we had data. So what do we do with so much data? We analyzed it, we put it, we sort of convert the data and try to the output was in the form of a user persona. Now user personas usually have 4 parts, which is the demographics, attitudes, behaviors, and psychometrics. Mostly we try to incorporate all these things into the user persona. Only then we will have a complete understanding of the persona. So something that personas can be done in different ways. For each project we build different kinds of persona. So something different that we did in this persona was we try to build in a day at work. We try to understand, okay, what are the processes this person would be doing on a daily basis at work. So this we did because again, we wanted to improve the user engagement, and without knowing what this person does on a regular basis, it wouldn't make sense. So we wanted to factor that in. So after the user persona, we sort of redefined the problem through observations. If you can scroll down a bit. Yeah. So we try to figure out the opportunities. So this is where we again redefine the problem statement. From where we say that, okay, we need to give the person more data for them to engage with the platform. We try to redefine it, saying that, okay, these are the 5 things that the user might be looking for to better the engagement, as in like bridging the communication gap, or making it more personalized, those sort of things. This is more like how Madhavan was talking earlier, right, about finding the right problem. So this is where, after the research, after we have analyzed, we put down the problem, redefine the problem statement, and from there we move into the design phase. Now we have a base setup as to, okay, what we should be designing. So we did this activity called Crazy Eight. Crazy Eight is basically where we go for elaborate. It's an elaborate sketching exercise where the whole team comes up with quick ideas, uh, and we explore. Like now we have constraints, right? Like any design, like we always hear this thing like designers should think out of the box. But in a lot of places, creativity also thinks when you are thinking inside the box, when you are thinking in with constraints. That is when actually creativity seeps in as well, because now you have technical constraints, you have constraints from the business, and then uh, you have say from the research you will have some constraints saying that, okay, this is what the user is expecting, and you design for the user. So within those constraints we ideated, and once we had a few ideas, we debated on it and selected a few, for which we did a information architecture. This is a basic schematics of the information architecture. So this helps us with building the navigation. So post this, we went on to build the interfaces. So interface is, so a lot of times what happens is that between the research and design phase, right, a lot of information is lost, lot of data is lost. Like we do so much extensive research, and then the research makes sense only if it is translated into the design. So we try to ensure that whatever research we have done is coming into the design, and for that we set guidelines, and we define the problem statement as such, and we had it handy so that we can like view it and say, okay, this is what we are looking at. So these are the interfaces that we design. Like you can see, the research has come in, like say sticky notes. They were using, the user was using sticky notes on his table, which was basically to list down the activities that he has done, that he has for the day. So we provided a similar interface to them. Say like, okay, you can do it on this platform, uh, by rearranging your priorities, by rearranging your tasks. those kind of things. So this is how we try to build in these things from the research. And yeah, so each of these points, like facilitating, they had this notebook where a diary where they could keep a track of all client interactions. So that we try to do it through showing the status and giving the log. They had meetings both online or offline, so we facilitated that on the platform. So these kind of things is how we got in the research into the design, and we could do that because we followed this process. So how did we provide value in this thing is, first we focused on the definition of the problem through research analysis, and then we wrote down the problems, after which and the engagement, like we didn't go out of the way to build in an engagement, but the engagement was more organic in the terms like we didn't add just features to jazz things up, or say to build in more features in the platform or make it look prettier, or rather it was more like building in the users everyday work onto the platform, which was increasing its productivity as well, and improving the product performance as well. And yeah, obviously we had the user in the center, like in every stage the user was the center. So yeah, so what we are trying to show through this case study is that design process is not deliverable. It's not like, okay, I do a okay, that is a person, I need to do a person, I need to do a journey map, and then I build the wireframes. It's not just a deliverable in that sense. Now we believe that it is design process is something that actually builds in the value into your design. Like that is what a design process should be considered as, and that is how we were able to provide value to this specific client and build a good product out of it. So that was the case study that we did for the wealth management application. So now I think we can move into the question and answer round. So before taking up questions, so we'll be sharing a feedback form. So if you can, I mean, it will be great if you can share us your feedback. We would love to have your feedback, and yeah, the floor is open to questions. You can either type in your questions and we can share it with Madhavan. Madhavan can answer it, or you can raise your hand. We will let you speak. I'll allow the microphone access.
Yeah, I think I see there is a question, Raj. My question is, as a designer in today's corporate world, yeah, so I think this question is from Deepak, saying that the question is, as a designer in today's corporate world where solving problem and doing task on time is important, but sometimes we are not satisfying fully ourselves, right? How to tackle that, and what can be tips to stay creative with working in with this work from home period? Yeah, work from home, definitely it's a tough one. I understand. Yeah, so this is Deepak, right? Hello, Deepak. Yeah, Deepak, this is the kind of same problem even we used to face, right? Kind of some task which client might be expecting to complete faster, and at the same time, we as a creative person, creative process is a kind of time-taking process. Like we have to do things slowly, we have to realize things and do it right. So I understand it is time taking process, and also as a designer during this pandemic time we are working from home, but we need to interact with other fellow designers, ideate more, even ideate with other team members to come up with more ideas and then propose it, right? Yeah, so I mean, if you kind of trying to follow the entire process, definitely it will be time taking. But I want you to divide into small phase. I want you to realize where you are in the design process, right? Let's say if you are in research phase, you can kind of communicate how much time it will take and how fast you can do that research, or how fast, let's say you are in a design phase, how fast you can complete that design. if you are able to communicate, and then if you are able to take that time, innovating yourself and being in creative space become easier. So that way we can kind of avoid taking too much of time to becoming creative. Okay, but again, don't try to do it in all your project, because otherwise your senior may be facing that you are taking too much time for all activities, right? I think you as a designer, you can find the right balance, right? Maybe one project you can deliver it faster, other project you can actually co-create along with your senior members or other designers, so they are also able to understand how you are trying to create value by spending more time on particular activity, right? So I would suggest work along with other designers, make sure that they knows that why you are taking that much time. Even for example, even this is what we do with our client also, right? We always try to involve end user, try to involve the client as part of the process, so they know what is happening, what progress is happening, they know why we are taking time also. That way it's like we always found that even clients start end up supporting us, hey, designers need this time, right? Even at least in the next task, when they were planning for that task, they end up giving proper time to you, Deepak. I hope I answered you. And
So, before picking up the next question, Madhavan, like if you can, we also wanted to get like what would be a good topic to go ahead for the next session.
okay, so are you kind of running that poll? No.
Yeah, I will launch that poll right
Maybe.
now. Yeah, we have it on the
Yeah.
screens as well, right? Probably we can show
Yeah.
it on the screen also.
So the screen, yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is for everyone. Thanks for listening to us, and we would like to continue to do similar session in future. And these are the topics as we are trying to propose. We would like to know your interest also, which topics you would like to go next. So Raj will be giving the poll now. You can answer that.
Yeah. So there was a question from Dhruv earlier, where
Okay.
he was asking like, so we are doing personas and stuff, right? So he wanted to know, is persona a mandatory thing? Is it compulsory thing to have a persona?
Yeah, right. Persona is a tool, right? It is helping you to have a common communication among the designer itself. And also, it see, like say in a project, there can be 2 to 3 kind of different users, right? So now, let's say if I'm communicating something, hey, persona A needs this, then other designer able to understand better, right? For example, let's take persona as a doctor, persona as an engineer, right? Both will have different set of requirement, different set of problems, right? Now let's say if I'm communicating the doctor persona doing this, and while doing this he is facing this problem, right? The communication become very seamless, right? Persona is helping you to communicate better, even with the client, even with other fellow designers. It's a representation of the person whom you are working for, right? So persona is always good. I would suggest I would suggest you to read through about persona and use persona on your design process. And one more thing, this is like many time I see that people confuse whether I have to create persona for the existing problem or new problem, even for that purpose, not only persona, even the scenarios they used to ask. So persona is a technique, persona is a tool, right? It can be developed to understand the existing situation, or it can be developed to define the new situation. So you have to find a way what you are trying to do. You know better on your project, right? If I am doing, I want to understand the existing situation, then that persona, what I will be defining, it's for the past scenarios. Okay, I can define a scenario. Let's say if I'm working on some project which is going to be in future, I can define a persona for the future and what might be his expectation. then I will be working on those use cases, right? So it's a very kind of very good tool as a designer, I would say. So you should use in your design process. Yeah, Raj, any other questions to answer?
Yeah, so there's another question.
Yeah.
From I don't know the name of the participant, but the question is: do you think people can be creative but find it hard to execute that creativity? The question is: do you think people can be creative but they find it hard to execute that creativity?
Yeah, so yeah, take any particular designer. When they starting their career, they definitely felt they are not very creative person, right? But every day they practice themselves to become a creative. They followed the process. They have a tool in their hand. Hey, how I can do things creatively, right? It's like, even let's say for example, people that never read any books, okay, but if you start reading for 5 minutes every day, maybe at the after 10-15 days you kind of finding it very interesting and you start reading it, right? It's the same kind of thought process even apply for creativity. You start spending time, practice yourself, automatically after some duration, for example 10 days, 15 days, you always feel that difference. I am better creative person today compared to last 10 days before, right? So it's all consistent, and persistent is going to make you become a very creative person. Anyone can be creative. That's what I would like to underline. Anyone can be creative. Okay. Yeah, so thanks. I think his name is B. It's very stylish name, I
Yeah.
think, right?
If you can raise your hand, I can unmute you. Like anyone who wants to ask a question can raise your hand. There's a feature on Teams.
We should start talking now. Like, feel free to talk. Raj can kind of enable you. I mean, unmute you. You can talk. We can talk and discuss.
Okay. So Dhruv has another question.
Yeah. Okay. So maybe Raj, you can enable him in voice. Let him talk.
Yeah, right. So I'm trying to do that, but like if they raise their hand, I will be able to unmute. Like otherwise, I'll not be able to unmute. So if you can raise your hand, right, you'll have it. Yeah, right.
Yeah. Okay. Understandable. Yeah. So Dhruv is asking, how deep must a prototype be when compared to a complete solution? Yeah. So sorry, Raj, you want to say something?
Sorry, I have unmuted Dhruv.
Yeah. Okay. Dhruv, hi Dhruv, how are you?
Hi Madhavan, doing fine. I hope you and Vasant are also doing great. It's been ages.
Yeah, Dhruv. How are you, by the way?
All good. We should keep in touch and reconnect also after the webinar is over.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah.
So for the benefit of others, my question was regarding the difference between the prototype and the real solution. So in my product at the moment, the problem is how deep should my designer design the prototype, and when do I say him, okay, this depth of prototype is good enough, everything, and we have understood the basics and the fundamentals of how the design should be, and everything else we can carry on from there when designing or when developing the real solution, because it's also a matter of time and money that we invest in the design. So the question would be, when do we say that yes, now this is good enough, and with this my developers can begin with doing their angular design or whatever, and then we say, because the idea is I don't want to have a prototype which is 100% giving my entire end solution. Or what do your suggestion would be when compared in this regard?
Yeah, Dhruv. So Dhruv, actually, when you try to solve, or if you are kind of envisioning the full product, it might be having multiple features, right? Multiple use case, which are you are resolving multiple small pain points for the end user, right?
Mhm.
So among that, I hope you might be very clear what is the primary use case you are trying to solve through that product, right?
Mhm.
For
Yes.
example, it is a flight booking app. You select the starting city, you select the destination, and then you book that app. This is the very primary, right?
Mhm.
Everything fall into the secondary use cases, right? So when go to the prototype, again, when going to prototype, you can take only that primary use case, and then you can do prototype that part. How do I select starting location? How do I select destination location? And how do
Mhm.
I do payment? This
Mhm.
itself will play as a primary use case, and doing only that as a prototype is more than enough. Instead of spending more time and money in that, it is better to see that as a prototype, so that as an idea to the
Mhm.
investor, anybody. That's more than enough, Dhruv.
Okay. So just to understand the point correctly, you said that when defining the persona, maybe that is where we try to identify while developing the persona, what are the primary use cases for this persona, and then go into prototyping of that one.
Yeah, yeah,
Did I
right.
understand correctly?
Yeah. So you define persona and you define list of use cases which
Mhm.
this persona is going to perform, right?
Mhm.
That product. So, but we cannot. Let's say we are have 10 use cases. All 10 is not going to be the primary one.
Correct.
Only one will be the primary.
Mhm.
So create prototype for that only the primary use case.
Okay.
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 And
Okay.
also one more, Dhruv, in the prototype itself, there are different levels of fidelity, right?
Okay. Mhm.
Let's say you have only design prototype, even people use that to show that concept to anybody, even for the
Mhm.
investor. So the level of fidelity prototype you are you want, that also matters how much money and time you need to spend.
Okay. Just to give you an input on that, my definition to the designer is that the prototype should be ready to have a developer handoff. He is using all the Angular codes from the design system, and he's using that to do the prototype. And so that when doing a developer handoff, the code snippets are already available for the developer to for say the typography, for the buttons, for the AG grid tables or whatever. So
Yeah, right.
so it's not just a design prototype which has to be then rethought by the developer, but rather he already has the access to the codes. So it's kind of a prototype which is developer handoff ready.
Okay. So that means what I understand is you would like to kind of even create the working prototype, right?
Yes,
Like
exactly.
even
Yes,
you want developer to
interactive
use
prototype.
it and have a working prototype. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Got
Mhm.
it.
Okay,
Yeah.
thanks, Madhavan. It was really helpful. Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah, thank you so much for interacting, Dhruv. So we have two more people, Mia and Vikasa. Probably Mia can go ahead with the question first.
Yeah, Mia, please go ahead. I mean, do you enable her, unmute her, Raj?
Yes,
Uh,
Madhvan. Mia has been enabled. Her mic is enabled.
Okay. So Mia, can you? I hope you are able to hear us. Please go ahead with your question. I think she has some problem. Oh, she is on mute, I think. This is what it says. Can you enable her?
uh, okay, probably we'll take that up. I think she wants to see a slide before Double Diamond. Uh,
Oh,
let her get it. Before that, probably Vikasa has a question. Can we take that?
yeah, please.
So the question is how to deal with difficult clients. Most have a good idea of what they want, but they don't have the design expertise needed to determine what is realistic. Yeah, this one, yeah.
Okay, most have a good idea of what they want. Yeah, so Visaha, we also have gone through difficult times, similar clients. So we as a designer, we take a step back and we try to explain things very clearly to them, why we are kind of, we should give a walkthrough of the design process, and in that design process, what are the kind of techniques we are trying to apply and why we are trying to apply and why it is going to help you to unfold that right problems. We try to explain that way, and based on their budget, we will decide which techniques to follow, what kind of findings we can come up with and deliver to them. But I totally agree with you. I can empathize on this with you. But other than explaining them in detail, making them to understand, expecting big change from them, it's not that easy, Visaha. So keep trying. Hope client will understand things better. Yeah. So any other questions from anybody?
Okay. Anyone else has questions? Okay. Okay. So I think we can wrap the session up, madam.
Yeah, sure. And yeah, thanks Mia for your kind words. Yeah. So is there anything else need to be covered, Raj? I think.
Yeah. So thank you everyone for joining in. I think it was. We are grateful that so many people joined in and participated also, and we would like to conduct such more interactive webinars. Keep following us on LinkedIn, Facebook to get and Twitter to get updates on the next webinar, and we also keep posting content every Wednesdays, design related content. We also post development related content, so keep following us and hope we meet again soon. Thank you so much for joining in today. Thank you.
Thanks everybody. Thanks for listening to us. Hope to see you more on next sessions. Bye bye. Take care.